everybody. Welcome to This Day. It is July 3rd. It is Wednesday. I wore my red, white, and blue as best I could to be patriotic for tomorrow and for everybody's going to enjoy the fireworks and all the celebrations. I hope you guys are all ready, went to the store, got all your stuff. It's going to be a great day. We've got one more good show to tell you about before we take our little 4th of July break, so let me tell you about that right now. From Hoag Family Cancer Institute, we're going to welcome Dr. Simon Kaji, and he's going to be talking about immunotherapy cancer treatment, some of the amazing work they're doing over there at the Institute in terms of treating folks and helping their immune system fight cancer. Kind of amazing stuff, so stay tuned for that. Then later in the program, the India Club is going to be here talking about their big picnic and celebration. If you don't get enough corn on the cob and all the kind of fun stuff tomorrow at 4th of July picnics, hey, next week the India Club's doing a great picnic. They're having a great cultural and food fair they're kind of doing, so stay tuned for information about that as well. Speaking of tomorrow, we're not going to be here. That's why I'm all red, white, and blue today. But we got some great movies for you and some other shows in place of This Day not being here. The 5:17 to Paris is going to be on at 9 a.m. That's a great movie, true life story about a thwarted terror attack on a Paris train by some American travelers. Then at noon, we're going to have the Philadelphia Story is going to be on. A great old classic movie with Audrey Hepburn and James Stewart. A great film for that one. You'll enjoy that. And then at 5 o'clock, California's Gold with Hugh Hauser, and he's going to be doing the feature on San Juan Capistrano right here in our old backyard. So stay tuned for those on July 4th. Enjoy the fireworks, be safe, enjoy the picnics, and enjoy some great movies and shows right here on Village Television. Let's take a look at that weather for tomorrow especially. I know we all want to know how the weather is going to be tomorrow. It's going to be great. How do you like that? Just great, warm, perfect day for fireworks, perfect day for picnics, perfect day for the beach, the pool, whatever you guys are going to be doing during the day. And then get out there and enjoy the fireworks. Won't be too cold at all. Only 66 for the low, so it'll be probably still in the 70s when the fireworks start going off. So great temperatures for us. Great skies. Should be clear skies for most fireworks shows all around. All right, and then we get a little warmer as we head into the weekend, but then cool again. So really great temperature for this time of year. Let's take a look at our sunrise and our sunset while we're at it. Oh, look at these little mallards crossing the street here. That's kind of fun. This is Mark Weiss sent us this photo. And our sunrise this morning was 5:45. Sunset tonight is going to be 8:04. There you go. And if you'd like to send us a picture of mallards crossing the street, your pets, places you've been, sunrises and sunsets, go ahead and email us, lagunawoodsvillagetv@gmail.com. Make sure you include your name, where you took the picture, and we will put it in our sunrise sunset segment. Okay, when we come back, Hoag Family Cancer Institute's Dr. Simon Kaji. Stay with us.
When it comes to life's most important medical challenges, where do you go? Welcome to the Hoag Institutes. Our patient-centered approach to care is rooted in clinical excellence and guided by world-class teams. Unparalleled expertise, world-class care, all within the Hoag Institutes, right here in OC.
Welcome back. We want to welcome to the program from Hoag Family Cancer Institute, Medical Director Simon Kaji. Thank you for joining us, Dr. Simon Kaji.
Thank you.
Tell me a little bit about immunotherapy. We're here to talk about immunotherapy, and it's relatively new in the field of cancer treatment, right?
Yeah, so immunotherapy is a fairly, it's a broad overarching term of, kind of a technique of how we stimulate our immune system against cancer. So it is fairly recent. The approval started coming online and available to patients back in like 2013.
Okay.
As far as like the more modern immunotherapies are concerned. And now we have a whole host of different drugs for a variety of indications, and it really has made a big impact.
And so the concept, correct me if I'm wrong, is basically take your immune system and tailor it to attack the cancer. Instead of using chemotherapy, which isn't tailored, or other treatments, we're talking about using your own body's own immune system, genetically figuring things out and making it attack the cancer that way? That's
exactly right. So immunotherapy, and the type of immunotherapy we're talking about here, is actually something called checkpoint inhibitors. And what these checkpoint inhibitors do is basically uncloak the cancer so that the immune system, those cells that make up the immune system, can see it again.
Okay.
Cancer uses a whole host of mechanisms to try to trick the immune system to think that it's normal, that it's part of your body.
Normal cell growth here.
Normal cell growth, and these immune cells are kind of like the cops, riding down the street, looking for bad guys. And when they spot a bad guy, they're able to, take them out and take them to jail. In this case, with your immune system, the cancer, the bad guy, is basically hiding in the bushes. It's or they look like anybody else on the street. So what the checkpoint inhibitors do, whether it's drugs like Keytruda, Opdivo, Yorvoy, there's a whole host of different types. They basically take the mask off, and the immune system can now see the cancer and kill it.
Okay. Now, are some of these treatments like I get a shot, like I just got a booster for shingles and I felt terrible for a day, my immune system perked up and went after it? Or is it an IV kind of treatment, or is it a variety of things?
Yeah, so immunotherapy is mainly delivered through the IV. So they have to put in an IV into the arm, and these drugs are infused slowly into the body. These are antibody drugs. They're monoclonal antibodies, meaning that they're not like toxins like typical chemotherapy, but they still need to be given through the IV, just like typical chemotherapy.
Okay. And are there multiple, or is it just one time, like an inoculation?
So patients have to keep coming back.
Okay.
For their treatments. There are sort of set treatment regimens depending on the stage of the cancer. So, for example, for advanced stage lung cancer but not metastatic, we might give immunotherapy for up to a year. Even in a metastatic setting, we're learning that even in lung cancer and melanoma, that maybe 2 years is probably enough. But there are some patients that continue on immunotherapy if they have metastatic disease, indefinitely. And by indefinitely meaning like, 5 years or more potentially. Okay. So those are the typical standard regimens. Okay.
Now, with chemotherapy and other kind of things, there are major sickening side effects: hair loss, debilitation, vomiting, can't eat, things like that. What are some of the side effects in terms of the immunotherapy approach?
Yeah, so immunotherapy doesn't have a lot of the side effects that chemotherapy does.
That's what I wanted to hear.
It does not. It does not. But it does have its own side effects. Right. So, when I talk to my patients about immunotherapy, I basically tell my patients that when you use immunotherapy, you're basically turning it on, right? And there's no technically an off switch, and it stays in your body for a long time. We want to activate the immune system against the cancer, and that's all. But sometimes we can activate the immune system against the body, normal cells. And that can manifest as inflammation of really any organ. What I've seen, a fair amount of is inflammation of the thyroid. So your thyroid starts getting a little wonky, and you need medication to help keep it under control. Fairly manageable. You might get a skin rash because you have inflammation of the skin, something called a dermatitis. Also fairly manageable, but there could be severe side effects. Some of those side effects are inflammation of the colon, where patients can have uncontrollable diarrhea. And we need to use special medicines, and some of them are steroids, to help cool the body off.
Right. And steroids also help with the inflammation, right?
Correct. They help with the inflammation tremendously. But unfortunately, when we use steroids in our patients, we can also decrease the efficacy of the immunotherapy against the cancer. So it's a tough balance, and you can't always predict who's going to be more prone to those side effects.
Okay. Now, since this is such a kind of relatively new therapy out there, where are we at in FDA approvals of some, not all, or are they kind of evolving as we go?
So there are a lot of drugs right now in the pipeline, for the FDA to look at and approve. A lot of studies are still ongoing using different types of immunotherapies. Now, we talked a lot about checkpoint inhibitors, but there are different immunotherapies where we're using either the body's own T cells, something called CAR T cells, either from the patient or perhaps from donors. There are other cells called NK cells that we're actively investigating. Actually, something at Hoag that we're doing is we're looking at NK cells, which are a different type of immune cell that can be actually very, very immunogenic, but also may not cause some of the side effects of immunotherapy that we encounter with T cells and checkpoint inhibitors. So there's a plethora of different sort of mechanisms that we're trying to use to activate the immune system, not just antibody drugs, but cells, viruses, vaccines that can help stimulate the immune system against cancer.
Okay. Now, what cancers have been the most effective in terms of treatment with immunotherapy?
Yeah, so the prototypical cancer that was most responsive to immunotherapy, as it is right now with these checkpoint inhibitors, is actually melanoma. Mm-hmm. And melanoma, up until about 2013, when I was still training as a fellow in Boston, it was still very much a death sentence. I still recall up to my training before they started approving these checkpoint inhibitors, patients coming in very sick, very limited options, chemotherapy was not working. They did have a very early version of immunotherapy called IL-2, but that was making people very, very sick. In fact, it was making people very, almost septic, where the immune system was just supercharged and on, and it was causing, severe side effects. And only about 10 to 15% of patients were responding, so very, very small response rate. And then these checkpoint inhibitors came online, and it just changed the game. Like a death sentence became essentially a chronic disease that patients came in to get these immunotherapies for. And from there on, we saw approvals for lung cancer, for Hodgkin's, for kidney cancer, and all sorts of different types of cancers. We're starting to show a response to immunotherapy. It doesn't work for everybody. So, and something I do a lot of research on, which is brain tumors, brain cancer, specifically tumors that start within the brain, it has not been a resounding success at all, unfortunately. So that's why we're looking at different techniques. Okay.
And at Hoag Family Cancer Institute, you guys are doing that kind of research there then, right? And,
yes.
And where do you, and is it all lab, or is sometimes people get some trial medicines and some things like that there?
Yeah, so we have clinical trials right now for our patients from phase 1 to phase 3. So, and what I get really excited about are those really early phase, very novel studies where there is no placebo arm. There are just the therapies. Clearly, because it is phase 1, we don't know a lot about, say, like the side effects. But we do feel that the preclinical testing that we did that led to these early phase clinical trials justify using it in our patients. For brain tumors, for example, we're combining some checkpoint inhibitors with other sort of immune stimulating drugs to help activate them better. As I said, they haven't worked alone, so we're trying to use different techniques to further augment them. We're using cell therapy that is, like I said, the NK cells. So it's really exciting. I think there's actually a plethora of studies that we're looking at, including viruses and cells for even other cancer subtypes at Hoag.
Okay. If people are going through treatment right now and they're interested in finding out if immunotherapy is for them, how do they get a hold of you guys?
So they can go on our website, and we have all our information on there, our phone number, and some of the best people to talk to up front. First starting out are our nurse navigators, which they're a wonderful resource. They can help shepherd patients through our system to the right oncologist, depending on their diagnosis.
Okay. Dr. Simon Kagi from Hoag Family Cancer Institute, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
You're watching This Day. We'll be right back. You know, July is a great time for a picnic, and I think the India Club agrees because they're going to throw one. And we want to welcome Ramesh Joshi to our program from the India Club. And welcome to the program. Is this the first kind of event you've done in terms of a picnic, kind of big thing like this?
No, actually we have been doing picnic. We call it picnic cum potluck.
Okay.
So people bring different kind of food. So we request them to bring food for 10 people. Mm-hmm. So there are different families bring different kind of food. As a result, everybody gets to taste.
Well, that sounds like an abundance.
Yes, you're right. So everybody gets to eat different food, mm-hmm. and it's always done in the summertime because most people like to have a little bit picnic. Mm-hmm. We are fortunate that we have good weather year round here, but summer is very pleasant. Mm-hmm.
And what do you think, what do you guys use the picnic for? Is it a way to just kind of build community, let people know about the club and all of those things?
You brought a very good point. First of all, that's the whole idea, mm-hmm. that way the whole community comes in and we are able to talk to each other. Some groups are formed, they say, hey, how are you doing and all that. But besides that, this year what we are doing, we have also got a golf cart. Mm-hmm. And on that golf cart, we are going to put the name of India Club, you know. So people know that we are there. Many people don't even know that India Club exists, you know. Mm-hmm. So
yeah, and that's one of the interesting things about that. And you know, exploring the cultures of India Club, and there's so many groups that are focused on their cultural heritage and those kinds of the African American Heritage Club.
Absolutely.
And also so many of them. What do you think that folks maybe least understand about India, their people, their foods, whatever it might be, that they're surprised by when they first get introduced to the India Club?
Yeah, the biggest surprise is that we are so many people. Mm-hmm. There are 22 languages. Mm-hmm. That means those languages are written and spoken. Mm-hmm. English is the language which was imposed by the British. Mm-hmm. Our basic language was Sanskrit, but it got broken into different languages, so they became 22 languages. Mm-hmm. A southern language, Tamil language, they say it is probably another oldest language. But besides the language being different, our climate is different from top to bottom. Mm-hmm. So our spices are different.
Right.
Our diets are different. And some people eat fish. Even most Hindus are not supposed to eat meat. Mm-hmm. The fighters and others, they were allowed to eat because they needed
the protein and
yeah,
be big and
but
strong.
Others did not. But people in Brahmins in the Bengal area, they ate fish. Mm-hmm. They called it a vegetable of the sea.
That's funny.
So that and culturally, we have different kind of dances, different kind of music. It's quite different. Mm-hmm. So Bharatanatyam to Kathak, North Kathak, Bharatanatyam, and many other types of dances. So we are a cultural potluck. Mm-hmm. If there is a human zoo, and all over the world all over the earth is a human zoo. We have a very specific kind of culture that mm-hmm. we have never gone out. Out means we have never invaded a country, mm-hmm. only country. We have had 3 religions, but they never proselytize each other, ever.
Okay, so it's very insular in that terms, right?
They never fought. Mm-hmm. On the contrary, even our one of the emperors, he said once he killed some people, winning a war, 100,000. He said, "What did I do?" He said, "No more violence." So he mm-hmm. talked to everybody. Hey, can we just stop killing? So he conquered from Afghanistan to down south. Then he sent his son and daughter to Sri Lanka and Myanmar. Mm-hmm. And whole of the Southeast Asia, China, Japan, they all became Buddhist. That means no fighting. Mm-hmm. That means he did not say that you become Buddhist. He said we should not fight, we should not kill each other. Mm-hmm. And that was the result of
just created a culture of community and peace and that kind of thing that's gone on for hundreds of years.
Hundreds of years. And in his time, there was no war. Mm-hmm. Another 50 years, there was no war. But humans are humans.
One of the things that it's very interesting, all the things you're telling me, one of the things I found that was interesting is there's so many, like you said, so many dialects
yes.
within India. I have an Indian couple that live next to us, and they said they spoke each other's language, or that wasn't the one they used in the house. So they'll talk to their one family members in one language, another one another, and they've talked to me about all the dialects that they know. They all speak 2 or 3 different languages, including English and that kind of thing too.
Right. Yeah.
So it's an amazing culture where you have so much, even within the country, you have so many dialects, so many different languages. 200
dialects, 200 more.
Yeah.
Even in language itself, even in the English language, when we have north, or one of the persons used to say, either, is spelled E-I-T-H-E-R, either. They say you can say it either or either way. So yes, our pronunciations and everything differs. But one thing, we always think that we are Indians. And we don't necessarily Hindus and Muslims and Christians. Everybody thinks that way. The religion, we do not have religious animosities.
And now bringing it back to the picnic, one of those things that you guys can find commonality around certainly is food, right? And the varieties of food there. Folks can bring food, and they also have to pay $12 to attend.
No, only those people who do not bring food.
Do not bring food, right? But if you want to come, because that's why you're bringing enough for 10 people. So if you don't bring food, then you get $12 to attend, and then you can enjoy.
Yes.
If you're not an Indian cook like me, maybe I wouldn't bring the best cuisine.
So we buy food for them and make special dishes, so that this will be a common dish that they can also enjoy besides the other dishes. So that's why we have this $12 fee,
And are you guys going to do some games, activities, things like that there as well?
We have games like carom board, but we also have other games called Antarakshari. Somebody tells a poem, so last consonant or vowel of that poem, the other person has to start. It's called Antarakshari. So it goes on for, people like to do that. All our scriptures are in poetry form.
Wow, okay.
All the scriptures of the Hindu religion, they are in poetry, Hindu, Jain, Buddhism, they are in poetry form. They are not in just essay.
Okay, so that's just a common kind of game or kind of activity that a lot of when Indians get together, they'll do that as well.
Yeah, and then there are other games, common games which you have here. But yes, and then there's some dancing and some people singing. So it's a commonality that we have all kinds of activities to make it easier for everybody to.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it really kind of be a cultural kind of cornucopia that's going on there, right?
Absolutely right.
A little bit of everything going on for folks to enjoy.
Yeah.
What are some of the other things that you guys are planning outside of the picnic? What are some of the other things you are planning throughout the year in terms of the club activities?
One thing, as I said, we have found a red golf cart. We are going to put on both the sides of the golf cart India Club, which is July 4th for everybody. Besides that, what we do, we always have these programs every month. And those monthly programs we decide almost in advance. So we will have, in August, it will be related to the independence, because we got our independence on August 15th, 1947.
Okay, right.
I was 13
Broke away from the British colony.
I was 15 years old at that time.
Wow, okay.
So that day is very important. And after that, we also adopted our constitution, but we have music related to that, and we also invite some dancers and music to talk about it. And we also started another program called My Story, or Immigrant Story. So we are asking people, hey, tell your story. Then other programs, we have dances of different kinds in September, October, and November. November, we are going to have a very large program in Clubhouse 3 called, it will be called as a mythical story. That's again a poetic story, which is going to be the victory of good over evil.
Oh, okay.
That's what the story is about.
Right. And I tell you, it's beautiful to go to an event like that with the dancing and the stories and the games and those kinds of things. For folks who are interested, remember it's going to be Wednesday, July 10th from 11:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. You can bring your favorite food for 10 people, or you can pay $12 and enjoy some great Indian food. And look out for the golf cart in the parade on the 4th, as well as at the event on July 10th.
And also they should inform us by July 5.
Okay, July 5th is the deadline to make sure you RSVP. RSVP,
Yeah.
and there is the email is there on the screen for everybody to take a look at.
And also
make sure they get
Zelle address is also given for paying the money.
Oh, terrific. We can do it for Zelle, or we can do it through email. That's fantastic.
Yes.
Either way to go. But just make sure you get out there, no matter what it is. If you're going to bring the food or you're going to charge, just make sure you come. Make sure you let people know. It should be a great event.
And have fun, talking to each other and having culture.
Yes, and that's the most important about it. Build some community out there. Ramesh, thank you so much from the Indian Club. Thank you so much for joining us.
You're invited.
There you go. See, now I'm not going to make any food. I'll pay the $12.
Don't worry about that. We do have some space for the guests.
There we go. Honored guest. Thank you so much.
Yeah, you have to have it, yeah.
Ramesh, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so kindly.
You're watching This Day. We'll be right back.
Caring Senior Service provides a variety of care services to help seniors age in place. We cook, we clean, we listen, we help, we care. And that's why we create customized care plans to enable every senior to maintain their independence. To learn more about how we can help your family, contact us today.
Attention all club organizers, party planners, and those who simply love to gather and celebrate life's special moments. Are you tired of the hassle of cooking for your events? Looking for a convenient and delicious solution? Introducing our easy and convenient catering trays, perfect for groups of any size from 35 to 90. Need a larger space to host your event? Look no further than our restaurant's banquet room, the perfect venue for your next gathering. Call us today to place your catering order or reserve our banquet room for your next event. Create memories and traditions with Polly's Pies.
Hey, Wednesdays today we talk about our movies for the weekend, and we're going to do that right now. On Friday, Mr. Smith Goes to Washington, starring James Stewart, brought to us by RadNet, 2 p.m. with subtitles, 6 p.m. without the subtitles. Just a fantastic movie, wonderful classic film. It is a naive youth leader is appointed to fill a vacancy of a U.S. senator. His idealistic plans promptly collide with corruption at home and deceit from his hero in Washington, but he tries to forge ahead despite attacks on his character. He does a big filibuster at the end, has this big realization. It's a great, great classic film. Frank Capra made that one, and you'll love it. 6 p.m. without the subtitles, 2 p.m. with the subtitles, brought to us by RadNet. And then on Saturday, we got a great Kurt Russell movie, Miracle, the true story of the U.S. Olympic hockey team and how they beat the Russians. It was such a great story. It's about the U.S. men's hockey team. They go on to get their gold medal victory in the 1980 Winter Olympics over the heavily favored and seasoned Soviet team. And it was dubbed, of course, the Miracle on Ice. Brought to us by Providence. It's going to be on 2 p.m. with the subtitles and 6 p.m. without the subtitles. Just two terrific films for this weekend. You guys should enjoy those. Have a great holiday weekend. We got one announcement to tell you about that, and it's the big one. It's the 4th of July. It's coming up tomorrow, of course, and they are going to have the golf cart parade over at Clubhouse 2. Of course, July 4th, going to be on from 11 to 11:45, and then from noon to 2 p.m., they're going to be having all sorts of fun stuff, food, events, and partying. So enjoy the 4th of July parade. It's always a fun one. The golf cart parade is so cool. I'm not going to be there for it. I have other plans, but I want to get out there one day and see that. Should be fun. Maybe next year. All right, that's going to do it for this edition of This Day. Tomorrow, there is no tomorrow. Just like Apollo Creed said in Rocky III, there is no tomorrow. We have just movies on. Remember Apollo Creed in that very pivotal scene in Rocky III? He says, there is no tomorrow, when Rocky's really frustrated. He's training, and he's not working out, and he's afraid to fight Mr. T again. Then, Adrian gives him that pep talk, and he goes on to win. Sorry for spoiling, it's like a 40-year-old movie. But anyway, there is no tomorrow. We got plenty of movies and other fun stuff there, but we will be back on Friday with another edition of This Day. So enjoy the day off from me and all this ranting. That's going to do it for this edition of our program. For all of us here at Village Television, have a safe 4th, and we hope you make this day and all of them a great one.